whenever you're ready.
Ready.
All right, my friends, welcome to episode 156 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I am the Professor Larry at Prof Plays Games on the old Twitter, and over there's Anthony at SummerSpeak. He is the dev. He lends all of the credibility to the podcast.
That's funny.
So this week, we were absolutely going to talk about the Nintendo Direct, and we probably will a little bit, but that didn't happen, and our thoughts are with the folks in Hokkaido and Japan. Writ large. It's just been the islands of Japan have been getting a pummeling lately. Yeah,
seems like the last many years, it's just, there's something, and I feel bad. Really bad. I really want to go to Hokkaido someday. So
when you were there, you just in Honshu, or?
Yeah, I mean, I was really just around Tokyo. Farthest I went was a couple hours north of Tokyo, and then like an hour south. Which 9 days in that area, like, 9 days in Japan, you'd see a lot. Nope. Even in Tokyo, all my days spent there, I'm like, I could still probably spend weeks in Tokyo and not see it all.
Right.
But yeah, Hokkaido is a place that I've been. When I go back to Japan, family or not, like, I really want to go up to Hokkaido. The countryside, really more relaxed place. So it's really sad to see the earthquake and the slides and everything there. So
yeah, it's really. I mean, every time there's an earthquake, just because of where we grew up and just how we felt earthquakes as kids, it's just I don't like them. So I feel bad whenever I hear about them. So I think it was the right move on Nintendo to move it, of course. And video games are awesome, but they're not the most important thing in the world. So, but that said, there were some announcements, anyways, that were probably slated to be part of the Direct.
So they couldn't really the wheels of the machine couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, these third parties have their own marketing timelines, basically. So we got basically a Mega Man 11 demo drop, which I don't know if you downloaded that yet on your Switch. I did. I played a little bit. It's fucking Mega Man. Like, it looks different. It's more like the 2.5 or whatever, the 3D models.
Yeah.
But the layout of the stage, like the challenge of it, the platforming challenge, plus the way the enemies interact with you and how hard it is, it's fucking Mega Man. Like, it is a Mega Man game. Even on casual, I only got like 3/4 of the way through the stage. So I don't know, it feels good. It feels like a Mega Man game. I think that's, from looking at the design of it, I think some people were getting Mighty Number 9 vibes. But it plays like Mega Man. It really feels good.
That's good.
Yeah.
I don't think that's my game.
I don't think so either.
I'm much more a Mega Man X. Like, the original Mega Mans just weren't my favorite. I played the first 3 probably when I was younger. Did fine. Then didn't play anymore. Played X and a couple of the X's. And then I've tried some of the newer Mega Mans, like 11, like ever since the
9 or 10.
They started, and I just couldn't get back into them.
I feel like
they're not for me.
The traversal is hard to go back to, I think.
Yeah.
And Mega Man 11 keeps the Mega Man traversal for the most part. It adds some new like gear systems, like you can slow time, you can like buff yourself when you're almost out of health. There's some interesting mechanics, but the running, jumping, gunning thing is basically the same.
But it's still Mega Man.
It's Mega Man, down to 3 bullets coming out of your thing, and that's what you got on the screen, So it was fun. The full game I didn't realize was going to be $30, which I think is a pretty good price. But when you think about, you can get Mega Man 1 through 6 or Mega Man 7 through 10 for like $20 and have just a ton of game content there. I don't know, but it's nice to see the new one. They're not doing a $60 drop. So I don't know. I'll probably beat the stage and consider getting the new one. But I'm the same with you. I played Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, and I didn't play anything after that. I didn't even play X. So there's a lot for me to catch up on.
I played so much X.
Like X1, X2, X3 kind of stuff? Or
I definitely played X1, X2. I think I might have played some of X3, but not a ton. From all those, I still like X the best. Like, I still felt it had the best bosses, the right level of difficulty progression through the bosses. I remember 2 being quite a kick in the nuts right off the bat, compared to, like, X had a little bit more of a ramp to it. Just had some good first stages that were just iconic and memorable. that really showed off the Super Nintendo more than anything. Like, look at what we can do, and there's so much kind of faster in a lot of ways.
Right.
Look at how much faster you can go and move and traverse, and yeah, I had a good time with X.
So you'd recommend playing X?
Yeah, I think if you're just wanting it, like, X would be a fantastic. I've played it probably in the last 10 years. I played it again.
Oh, okay.
I think through emulation, and it still holds up. It's a good game.
Good. I think I might pick your brain later when we get to what I've been playing this week about other games from that console that I missed that I should play, because holy crap, what a week I've had.
Yeah.
So Mega Man 11 demo dropped, and then we got news about Civ 6 coming to the Nintendo Switch,
which is crazy.
Good, crazy. Like, I would never have in a million years guessed Civ 6 would be coming to the Switch.
And I mean, if they can pull off a decently good control scheme, holy crap, I would totally play a Civ on a Switch. And since I can just stop at any time.
It's perfect for the Switch. Like, pick one up, play a couple turns, put it back down, play on your commute. Yeah. I'm feeling pretty good because I was tempted for a while. I played a bit of Civ 5 and I was interested in it, but it was fun. But right around Civ 6 came out, and I was thinking about jumping into the new one. I decided not to. And I'm glad, because I have a rule now where if I own the game on another platform, I'm not buying it on the Switch. So I'm trying not to double dip. So that would not be a double dip.
No.
And it sounds
I think it'll be good. The controls are going to be a pain in the butt.
And
it's Aspire doing it.
Doing the port?
Doing the port.
Oh, okay.
They do a lot of ports.
Okay.
So it's not like this is their first time out on doing this stuff, and they've done a lot of console stuff. So, but it's a very complicated game. It's a lot of information, a lot of tooltips, which are the bane of a non-mouse interface.
Right.
Hey, look there's hover over tooltips. Oh wait, consoles you don't have hover over. Oh.
Yeah,
wow.
So Aspire, do you know what ports they've done?
Oh, they've been around for a long time.
But like ports to the Switch, they've done?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I don't know if they've done to Switch.
Because I guess I want to wait on like how good is the port.
They did stuff in they've been around 2005. They used to do a lot of Mac ports. That was their big thing, was porting a bunch of stuff, like really popular PC stuff, to Mac.
Right.
Oh no, they were founded in 96. Sorry. They've been around 21 years. Holy crap. I don't know. They did... I'm trying to see console ports. No, they haven't done a bunch of consoles. They've done a bunch of... they've ported Civ 6 to iOS.
Okay.
Which makes sense, because that's the version that they're probably bringing to Switch.
Right. Because... if that's
and
true,
they did Knights of the Old Republic to iOS.
Okay, I played that one. That was actually a good port. So that suggests maybe touchscreen, but then if you dock it, you can't use touchscreen, so they have to have some.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a controller, like the way that they control it using the controller. But I also would not be surprised if they allow for touchscreen.
Yeah.
In the game, like, why not?
That'd be great, because I play my Switch 100% undocked.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll get to some of that later, too.
Yes, we will. This has been a week for both of us, for sure. But, it's coming out November 16th, like 2 months, basically. Like unless it gets pushed.
It's going to be insane.
Well, Diablo 3.
Oh, did you see the
Civ
rumors
6.
on that?
Maybe.
The date for Diablo Switch?
Oh, the Target, or was it Target? Remind me the date.
I think it was Target. They pulled it down.
Yep.
But it was November 6th.
That was it, yep.
Which happens to be BlizzCon.
BlizzCon is going to be, hey, it's out now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I'm hoping to be at BlizzCon, so that'd be great to celebrate in person with my Switch.
Yeah, there you go. Get it. And then, oh my god, because the way that it, as far as I know, that the local multiplayer works.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Is it just detect local people that say, I have a game open, and it's just using Bluetooth or whatever the Switch uses to talk between other Switches. So you could just be at BlizzCon, have your Switch, let's say you were able to get Diablo 3, like, however that works.
Mm-hmm.
You could just be walking around and be like, all right, let's play a game. Let's just find each other and, okay, we're going to play 4-player right here.
Bring out a megaphone. Who has a Switch? Let's play Diablo 3.
You probably see so many people with Switches there.
Dude, I'm so excited. I got that pin. Thanks for the stuff that you sent me, by the way. The Celeste shirt and the Shovel Knight shirt and the Diablo 3 pin. I keep wanting to wear the pin. I'm like, no, just leave it.
I hope you like the Celeste shirt.
Dude, I'm wearing it right now. This is the first one that I wore, and it fits perfectly. It's fucking awesome. My wife looked at it and said, wow, I really like that shirt. It doesn't look like a video game shirt. It's like, yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. She's remarked on the growing pile of video game shirts that I have, and she rather likes this one because you can't even tell. And I was like, the people who know can tell.
Yep, the people who know will see the name and understand.
Right.
But
no, it's fucking awesome, and the Shovel Knight shirt's rad too. So I'm very, very happy.
Cool.
Were there any other games that were announced?
Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition.
Not a surprise at all.
I'm actually only surprised that to me is it's coming to PS4 and Xbox.
Right, they have the regular one.
I'm like, what? Yeah, they have Final Fantasy 15.
Right.
Normal.
Yeah, I don't see why you'd need that there, but I'm sure.
Is the Pocket Edition such a different
I mean, it's streamlined all the side content off and just stuck to the main path.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it, so I'm now curious how it plays and what it is, but it seems really weird that they're going to be bringing that to home consoles. Really weird.
Oh, I read online.
Part of me's like, why don't they just give it to the people that already own Final Fantasy 15 on console? That'd be good.
Speaking of that, someone had said, because they were asking kind of the same line of questions I saw on a Reddit thread, and someone said, well, for the PC version, I think they gave out the chibi models anyways, so you can actually play Final Fantasy 15 with those models.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, which would be super weird. Final Fantasy 15 is the only Final Fantasy that I've ever played to completion. I liked it. I didn't love it because of the way that everything changes.
It mostly is a thing of if the last third of the game, half of the game, was like the first half, it would probably be an amazing game.
Yes, exactly.
But it's not.
Yep.
So
it doesn't make me want to re-experience that story.
No.
But I'm morbidly curious about how it is.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, but not enough to go through it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm curious, but I don't think the curiosity is not enough for me to buy it.
But put Final Fantasy VI into the Octopath engine, and I'll probably come for that.
Please, that'd be good. Honestly, any of the old ones. Let's just go Final Fantasy 1 through 6. Let's just start remaking them in that Octopath engine.
Right.
Let's go.
People would be all over that. They have to be doing something.
They don't
like that.
have to, but
oh man, that's money.
I really wish they would.
Yeah.
Because people would be all over it.
Yeah. Even if they just put a straight port onto the
Switch, I think people would be happy. Hope that they do, because I don't want these games to disappear completely.
Right.
I know we have it on the SNES. We have 6 on the SNES Classic, and we have 1 on the NES Classic.
Right.
But it would be really nice if they just found a way to keep these games around and not just disappear, especially now that getting NES and SNES ROMs is getting way harder.
Way harder. Oh, man.
I'm glad I have some already, because I don't know if I'll ever find them again.
Right.
I'm sure I could if I dug hard enough, but I don't really want to.
Yeah, the places you'd be going to find those would be a little more challenging, and who knows what you'd pick up along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But my friend here, when that all went down, he's like, hey, I have a ton of ROMs, so just let me know.
Yeah.
Because, it used to be pretty easy to find them.
Which I get for a long time, getting them was these are never going to come back out. I'm getting these because
you never have to see it again, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is the only way I can experience this. Which is to say that it's nice because Nintendo is actually re-releasing a lot of these games and has at least some desire to keep these games in circulation now.
Right.
But it's still not going to be all of them.
I think the publishers are realizing there's money to be made from nostalgia. I'm still waiting for my Goof Troop remaster, though, which is still not happening. But I have the ROM, thank God. So,
yeah.
Thanks to my friend here. It's on my SNES Classic.
Nice.
Yeah. Those are the 3 things that kind of leaked, and nothing else has leaked. And I don't even know if those were leaks. I'm sure at least Mega Man was. But
I saw a brief thing that actually had like the name for the Yoshi's game.
Oh yeah, the Crafted World.
Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yeah.
Not Flippin' World.
Exactly, which is a good change because Flippin' World just too much like fucking.
Yeah.
No, Crafted World sounds good because it's not just wool; it's all these different kinds of material, cardboard, and all these other aesthetics. It kind of fits. Yeah. Crafted Kingdom, Kingdom, but some kaka would be good. But
yeah, would be good.
I'll take it. I like those Yoshi games, so I'm hoping it lives up to the pedigree for the most part. But other than that, we didn't hear anything. No Smash leaks, nope. Anything. So, and we don't even know when the Direct's going to happen again.
I thought I saw stuff that maybe this Thursday.
That would make sense.
Potentially, like where it's been rescheduled to. I assume if it's going to be this week, Nintendo will say something in the next couple days. They're not just going to just drop it without saying anything, but
right.
They might give like a day 48-hour notice.
Well, it's got to come out soon because I mean, I would imagine it has Nintendo Online information on it.
Yeah.
But maybe they've already told us everything we need to know. Maybe there's nothing new or nothing else to know.
I think they still want to remind people about it.
Yeah. Well, and we need a date. We still just have like September, which is here now.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Well, it's crazy that we're in the month and we don't have a date for that thing.
Yeah.
So.
It's true.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, your birthday.
Yeah.
Right? That's right.
It could drop tomorrow. Let's see. What would I want from a Nintendo Direct? I would want
Smash content.
Yeah, I was gonna say like my initial reaction would be Smash content, but honestly, I've gotten everything I wanted. I wanted Simon and I wanted King K. Rool. Kind of got them both. So probably would want to see GameCube Virtual Console, which is not going to happen. But going back to my 3DS and realizing I have the NES and the Super Nintendo Virtual Console that I need there, so I'm actually not dying for it on the Switch anymore. But GameCube Virtual Console would be nice because that's the one Nintendo system that I never played. So, like ever, haven't played 1 second of GameCube, which is weird.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Because that's the one that's hard to get a hold of games for, really.
Yeah, like the physical discs.
Physical discs, and then in general, just like they didn't re-release a ton of them. I mean, you've got Wind Waker HD.
Right.
Is there other ones
that have been re-released from the GameCube?
Yeah.
I mean, third-party ones, like probably the Resident Evils of the world. Yeah. But Nintendo games, Melee hasn't been, Sunshine hasn't been. What other big Nintendo games are on the GameCube?
Metroid Prime.
Well, that got that was on the Virtual Console actually, for the Wii U. Metroid Prime.
They did. Did they do the trilogy on the Wii U?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
Because that's right. They did the trilogy on the Wii. Didn't they?
The first two were on the GameCube, and the third one was on the Wii.
Third and Wii. I thought they combined them all and did a trilogy on the Wii.
They probably did. Yeah, I don't know.
But either way, yeah.
So that's what I want for my birthday, some GameCube, which is silly because I should want some new stuff. But for any new stuff on the Switch, I couldn't think of what I'd want because I want Fire Emblem, that's next year. I want Smash, that's this year. I'd just like to hear some other first-party games they're working on. Maybe let us know about that Star Fox rumor about the whatever it was called, like Star Fox Racing or something like that. If that's a real thing.
If that's a thing.
Yeah. It's probably not, but it sounds plausible enough that perhaps. But you know what? I want to hear and this probably would have leaked, a Konami announcement that they're dropping a bunch of Castlevania games on the Switch. Because now that I'm into these Metroidvanias, I would like to play Symphony and Aria of Sorrow and all that stuff without.
It'd be nice if they would bring some of those, update some of those, or at least just re-release them straight up.
Yeah.
Because there'd be quite an audience for them.
Because I can play Symphony on my PS4 or my Vita, which is good, but the other ones are on my Virtual Console on my Wii U, which doesn't get a lot of use.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully we'll see something here in the next few days.
Yeah. So kind of speaking of all of that stuff, we also wanted to touch briefly on Metroidvanias because we have been playing quite a few of them. recently. I kind of want to. I guess we're going to roll it into what we're playing as well.
Yeah.
I kind of want to jump to you first. You've been playing Hollow Knight. You say you're about 10 hours in. I kind of want to hear your experience.
I'm going to butcher names, so I really enjoy the game, but one of my first criticisms is I don't remember anything about the story, names, places, any, like, it's not, unfortunately to me, not that memorable.
Yeah.
Like today, this morning, I beat the boss in the city place who shoots things like orange things at me.
Yep.
That's how I know the boss. I don't actually know it by name.
To your audience, he's talking about Soul Master.
Okay, sure, that was the name.
In this, I think, the City of Tears.
Okay, there's a city. I knew that. Yeah. And I will say that is probably. I see what they're going with the Soul style story and stuff. It's just not the way that it's presented and stuff. I just don't find it memorable. Like,
I mean, to be honest,
or compelling in a lot of ways. I'm just like, yeah, I'm playing. I'm just exploring.
Yeah, for me, the story didn't pull me forward, and honestly, some of the early enemies I don't remember either. Like, there's the false knight, that I don't remember fighting that person at all. But I know I did. But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It might have been like an opening. I don't remember, after a Hornet or something like that. But how was the fight with Soul Master? How did that go for you?
It took me about probably between 6 and 8 tries. I'm not sure how many total. Mm-hmm. I lost track on that run back to it, and then I stopped at one point and did more exploring and came back. It was basically, and then yes, this is where I'll talk about docking. So yesterday, when I was coming back on island with my son, I was playing, and I was like, all right, let's give this guy a shot while we're on the ferry. And I got to him, and I got farther than I ever got before I got into the second stage. Didn't know he had a second stage. He had a second stage. Yeah. Just fine. I got in there, and I died in the second stage. But only because I was like, okay, he's doing a couple new moves. I just got to figure out what to do. But the reason I got even that far is I just learned the positioning of the fight.
Right.
Like, I just knew where to stand, and the first phase became rather trivial.
Right.
I was really shocked how quickly I took him down once I'd like, stand close to him or under him.
That's what happened to me when I realized that if I just paid attention and was a little patient, the bosses were a lot easier.
Yeah. So I was like, I get what's going on now. That's easy. But then I came home and docked it and was like, all right, I'll give it another go. Do not dock.
Really?
Holy crap. It's laggy docked.
Oh.
It was felt very unresponsive docked.
Oh, no, okay.
And I tried the fight again. I couldn't even get out of the first phase.
Oh.
It just couldn't react fast enough. This morning, I picked it up in docked mode after I would, before I was going to take a shower. I was like, let's try it again. Undocked. And beat it first try.
Nice.
So it was just more, I was just like, I don't think I'm ever going to play this game docked again. This doesn't feel really good.
Huh. I put 55 hours into that game, and I played it docked for about 5 minutes. And it was like in Fog Canyon. It wasn't a boss or anything.
Yeah, it just felt off.
Yeah, okay.
Slightly. Just enough. That was whatever the button press is, I just wasn't being able to go fast enough on my reactions.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not the game, maybe it's me, and just the TV and everything, and just slightly different refresh rates, whatever. I don't know.
Right.
But I'm like, nope, never docking this game again. But yeah, I beat Soul Master.
Was that a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Soul Master. Yeah. I was like, was there a question mark into that? Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean,
they never actually tell you the name, so. Whatever.
Well, it does at the bottom lower left-hand corner when the boss first shows up.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That's
it. Yeah. Soul Master.
It.
Oh, Jesus.
I did that, which then got me getting out of there, getting the downward dash destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Getting out of there got me enough, whatever the currency is.
The Geo.
It's Geo. I call it cash, whatever.
Yeah.
This is how much I'm like, I don't know all your terms. I don't care.
Yeah.
The thing that I turn in to buy things.
Yep.
So I bought the lantern.
Nice.
And went through and got a mask piece from one dark place. And now I have that was the last mask piece I needed for additional health.
Oh, nice.
So I'm up there, and then I went into the peak area.
Oh yeah, Crystal Peak.
Crystal Peak. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm in there right now.
Okay.
And I don't know if people care about spoilers. I don't know. I just fell all the way down and did the dream thing.
Yep.
So I'm just after that.
Okay.
So I'm trying to find 100 essence or whatever.
Yeah.
The thing's asking me to do.
Right. Yeah, I'm currently at 2392, and you need 2400 to get like that's the last stage. Like you need 16 or 1800 to do like the final piece of the game, but then 2400 you get like some special something or other.
Okay.
So it's like, wringing the last bit of juice out of this game is doing that basically.
Okay. So yeah, I'm there working through that now.
Nice. She gives some pretty good rewards. So especially when you get to 1100 or 900, I can't remember which one it is. Okay. But you get your own fast travel basically.
Oh, nice.
And you can do it anywhere that you want. Yeah, it's like saves so much time. It's awesome. So
that would be great. Because that is one other complaint I'm having is the amount of like, oh God, where do I have to go to a stag station from here?
Right.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like
I guess I'm going to work on this now.
Of my 55 hours, like probably 15, 20 was just going back and forth, which helped me expand the map out and stuff and find new things. But yeah. So
yeah, it can get a little bit old sometimes in Metroidvanias overall. Like, but I'm working my way through it. So I'll be there. I'm doing the Crystal Peak, and this. Who knows? I don't know where this is going to lead me once I get this essence. If I go back to Crystal Peak, or how I get out of here, because there isn't a way out of here for me yet. So
yeah, I'm struggling to remember exactly.
You fall down a big shaft, and you can't jump back up it.
Right.
So I can't go that way. And then I was in Crystal Peak doing stuff, and then you fall farther down into like a graveyard area.
Yep.
The dream.
Yep.
And I've come out of the dream, and I'm like, okay, depending on where you're going to put me, I know how I get out of Crystal Peak. There was the gondola type thing, but I don't have it needs a pass, and it's like, you don't have this pass.
Right.
So I'm like, well, clearly I get the pass somewhere, or it's going to open another path for me to get back out. But either way, it's for me to get back out of here, I either need to find a stag station, get the pass, or it needs to give me a path back up to someplace I can get to.
You're in the resting grounds, right? That's what the cemetery, I think, where you are, resting grounds.
Yeah, I don't have a map for either one yet. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there are other ways to get out of there. So
yeah, I'm sure it will show up at some point. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But it definitely right now is like the only way to go is forward.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah, I think the resting grounds is one of the smaller areas in the game, so you'll be able to find something soon.
Yeah.
The resting grounds is the place there's a secret that is one of the last things I need to do. I'm missing 1/4 of a mask fragment to get my final mask of health, and it's in the resting grounds. You have to take an item from one side of the map to the other without getting hit.
Oh.
And at the very end, to get it to this place, it's lined by spikes, like really crazy spikes. So it's you could get all the way there and just make one fucking mistake and have to start all over again.
Those are the worst ones. Worst type.
Yeah, it's a lot of people say it's not too bad if you go through and kill everything and then come back, but I don't know.
I could see doing that, but you still have to make through that spike platforming
exactly.
area. And the platforming is not the best in the game.
No,
it's adequate.
It's adequate at best.
But it doesn't feel perfect when they throw you in those really crazy spiky fast platforming sections.
Yeah. No.
But overall, like I'm having a good time with the game. That boss was a little frustrating until I figured it out.
It was
mostly the run to get back, because it was still kind of an annoying run to get back to that boss.
Yeah, to be honest, the Soul Master was the most frustrating boss for me until the real final boss.
Okay.
The other ones, like I had to retry. I think I told you earlier. Like I retried Soul Master and like 3 other bosses quite a bit. The rest of them are about 5 to 8 average. But for some reason, the Soul Master was just like over and over and over. I just couldn't figure it out, and I feel like that level of challenge kind of matched a lot of the later bosses. So if you could beat Soul Master, I feel like you could have the confidence to beat all the other bosses except for the real final bosses.
Okay.
Such a step up in terms of challenge. But the rest of them, I think what I'd say to you is when you get to the Watcher Knights And if you're kind of beating your head against the wall, maybe send me a text, because there's one thing I can let you know about that fight. But I think that's the other one that people have a ton of trouble with. And that one took me maybe 25, 30 tries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it took a lot. So yeah, let me know when you get there. The Watcher Knights. Kind of want to ask you, playing Hollow Knight, having already played and loved Super Metroid, how you think it compares so far on, in the pantheon of Metroidvanias.
I think from like the exploration side of things, it's really high up there. Combat's good. It's very different combat than Super Metroid.
Yeah.
It's melee combat. It's not ranged. It's not your typical Metroid thing. It honestly, and it's somewhat, I would say, better than any Castlevania. Castlevanias are pretty rudimentary in their combat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that all holds up pretty high. I would say I still am waiting for that moment that I'm like, whenever you've been talking about playing Super Metroid, I just have such ingrained memories of that game. Like, just scenes of Super Metroid that are like, maybe it was the age and everything, but I've played it again later and they still hold up. Like, there are just certain scenes, introductions of bosses that I think will always be burned into my memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not finding that in Hollow Knight. Like I said, I can't remember a bunch of the stuff. Like, it's a well-crafted game, but a lot of the lore and the exciting bits of it just don't stick with me.
Yeah, I kind of describe it and think about it in like terms of being slippery. Like, when it's there, I'm really impressed with it, and then when I'm past it, it kind of slips out of my mind. Like, to be honest, I can recall a lot of them, but not in terms of like wow or being awestruck by them.
Like Super Metroid, you talk about, like, you've been playing through it. I remember the shattering of the tube with a super bomb.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's always a super memorable thing to me. The ghost ship in general was really memorable. Like, the music sticks with me.
Well, every time you
fighting Ridley, not fighting Ridley, but getting the screw attack and jumping around, like, getting the screw attack was so fun. God, I had so much fun with the screw attack. Just jumping around and space jump with screw attack, and I just have it's flashy, and like very different, and it just drastically changes how you traverse the game. And I haven't hit that part with Hollow Knight. Like, I don't know if Hollow Knight gets a point where it's like such a drastic change to how you move through the level.
Crystal Peak, you get an ability that for me is the closest that comes to that, and I don't think it touches it. Like, I'll kind of slip right into Super Metroid here. This week and last week I played Super Metroid off the heels of hot on the heels of Hollow Knight, because having played Hollow Knight and raving about Metroidvanias and how great it was, I realized I hadn't played Super Metroid. So you and my friend Brad were like, you gotta go play that game. And to be honest, it's I don't know if I had enough time with it yet to think about it in these terms, but like, in some ways I think it's better than Hollow Knight. In some ways I think they're both equally good. Super Metroid is so compact. Like, it's such a compact experience. Like, it doesn't seem to be like a wasted area, a wasted room, a wasted ability. Like, I think Hollow Knight could have used some editing to kind of shrink the area a bit, reduce the amount of bosses, because I think the reason why some of the stuff in Super Metroid is so memorable, the abilities and the bosses, is that they're limited. Whereas Hollow Knight, you have like 50 charms that kind of represent your abilities, and like 30 bosses or something like that. Like, it's just kind of it's great to have all that content, but when there's so much, it kind of dilutes the total package. And I think that's maybe what you're getting, and that's looking back on Hollow Knight now, it's memorable in terms of its art style, but the bosses, there's only one boss besides the final bosses that really stick out to me. And it's actually, I think it was added in one of the DLCs, and it's totally optional. Like, you might not even find it. It's like buried inside of a buried part of one of the areas. But that boss was super memorable to me. But otherwise, they kind of all blend together a little bit.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that's what the game is doing, is I'm playing it, because you go back and forth so much through it, that the world is just all together. And Super Metroid very much distinctly compacts its... Like, you can... Like, once you get to Brinstar, like, you can't get back out for a while.
Right.
Like, they keep the map actually pretty small for where you can go.
Right.
For big chunks of that game. So you don't have to do these crazy backtracks or these, like, oh, go explore this place. There's nothing to do. Like, they keep you in places that there are things to do right now.
Well, and it's interesting in terms of like your conversation with the stag stations, and then the dream nail, the
whatever it is.
What the fuck am I trying to say? The fast travel that you unlock yourself later. Super Metroid doesn't have any of that. There was no fast travel. And it didn't, like, traversal was not a chore. Like, I didn't for 1 second get the feeling that we had when we played Oxenfree, where it's like, I gotta fucking walk back over here. Oh my god. It was fun all the time. Like, I had as much fun playing Super Metroid as I did playing Hollow Knight, and I played Super Metroid. My runtime was 6.5 hours total, and I played more than that.
Incredible. That is a good first runtime.
Well, and it was that long or that short because of save states. So when I died, I just went back to where I was. So I didn't, I used save states playing it, so it definitely felt like cheating a bit. Like, it wasn't like a real experience.
So add a little bit more time on there, but not a ton.
Yeah, I'd say probably like 8 hours.
And
I got finished with 84%, which felt pretty good. And like you said, the music, like every time you get a missile or whatever, and it's like the dun 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 dun, like that is just like in my head.
There's iconic music and sounds in that game.
There really is.
Like that in the art design, the whole thing. Like, you talk about it and comparing it to Hollow Knight. You're also talking about a game that came out in 94?
Right.
95?
94.
94. Yeah, it was before high school. You're comparing a game in 94 to a game that came out in 2017.
Yeah.
Which goes to show just how influential and strong Super Metroid is as a game.
Well, and how well it holds up. Like, when you guys were telling me to go back and play it, I was like, okay. And I went back and played it. I was like, dude, this could have released this year. If this released this year, this would be Game of the Year. This game is fucking incredible. It is so good.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a tightly designed game, and I was watching, I'll send you a video on it. It was a guy online called a video series called Boss Keys.
Yeah. Actually, I've been watching those.
And he did one on Metroid.
Uh-huh.
And he's currently did Super Metroid. He's going to do a Castlevania, I think, next.
Yeah, the next one's Castlevania, Symphony of the Night.
But the Super Metroid one was really cool to watch and see, and just realize how well designed Super Metroid is, especially compared to the first two.
Well, and that's the one I just watched. I think that just came out last week or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I watched that.
It randomly just showed up in my feed. I'm like, why are they showing me a Super Metroid? All right, I'm going to watch it. Sure, this looks cool. And it was really cool.
It was really good.
Breakdown of the game and why it works so well.
Well, and there's kind of speaking to the design, I was trying to explain how well it telegraphs where you need to go and what you need to do without really holding your hand. And the best way I can explain it is after I had gone through maybe 3/4 of the game, and I was kind of traversing back through Norfair to go toward Ridley. I was going through Brinstar, I think. Anyway, somewhere that I had explored everything, but I wanted to make sure that I got all the missiles. So I pulled up a guide real fast to see if I was missing anything in my area, and I grabbed a couple, and then I went to Norfair, and I still had the guide open. I was like, okay, I'll look at the map and see where to go. I was like, okay, and I started trying to follow the guide, and I was totally lost. Like, this doesn't make any sense at all. So I got somewhere I shouldn't have been. Like, I felt stuck. Like, all right, so I died, and I did not use my save state. I went back to where I was before I started using the guide, put the guide away, played, and it was way easier. Like, like the game was telling me where to go much better than like a step-by-step guide was telling me how to go.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is, that game is no fun with the guide at all. But it tells you where to go better on its own than to have a guide.
Yeah, than reading it. Like, if you just pay attention to what it's showing you on screen, it does show you where to go and what to do, and highlights paths and
right.
Where things might be off and different.
Yeah, because
generally, this is the same kind of great design you saw in Breath of the Wild.
Yep.
Just teaching visually, through sounds and visuals, just teaching you how to play the game.
Yeah. Well, and it was in this specific instance, I had gotten somewhere where I definitely needed the screw attack, and I was just beating my head against the wall. So I just reset, went back to the save room, and then just went a different direction on my own. And I ended up wandering into the screw attack, and I was like, oh, that's okay. This makes sense. And then there's another part where I was going to fight, not Fantoon, not Kraid, not Ridley. Who's the fourth boss?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. He's the dude that...
People are screaming at us right now. I can't remember the name.
I know.
But anyway, so along the way to this dude, there are a bunch of small Metroids. And I just happened to find out that if I used my grapple beam, it like electrocuted them. And they died.
Right. No, it's the guy in the water area.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was shocking these things on the way to the boss in one hit, where otherwise it would take me a couple hits with some other weapon or whatever. So when I got to the boss, there's all those turrets that are shooting you. So I bombed all the turrets, and then I was fighting this guy. I think it was like the third time that I was fighting him because I died the first two times. He grabbed me, and he was the way that it was
kind of moving you back and forth in like a semicircle oval thing, and you're like, huh.
And he kept moving me a little closer to the turrets that I had shot, and I realized on the second attempt or whatever, I got electrocuted myself. But then he grabbed me and he kept moving me closer and closer, and I was like, is the game telling me something here? So I just selected my grapple beam and I shot the broken turret basically, and it electrocuted me, but also electrocuted the boss. And then he died. That was it.
Yeah.
Like, that was so easy to take him down that way. And I was just like, first of all, it's awesome that the game has put that in so you can beat him a different way. But also, it kind of telegraphed it on the way to the boss that you could do something like that. By the way, I was able to electrocute the little Metroid dudes. Just the design is just stellar in that game.
Yep. And then I honestly feel like you play it and stuff where it stands out as... I don't know if you thought about it much, but I actually really enjoyed the story of it.
Oh, yeah.
Samus as a character was really well done in it. The relationship with the Metroid and Mother Brain, the whole thing at the end.
Yep.
It starts pushing pushed the story forward really far. And weirdly, in this like little Metroidvania exploration thing, you get this like connection to a baby Metroid, and it helping you, and it dies. And it's sad.
It was so affecting there at the end, where it basically lops on the Mother Brain, then comes over and gives you energy, and then she starts fighting and kills it. And you're like,
yeah.
Like, if I had known about that ahead of time, it would have lessened the impact of that scene. It really was emotional, and it's like, oh my god, this game has told me so much story with so little. And that's just like comparing it to Hollow Knight. Like, I think they're both stellar games, like top 10 of games I've ever played in my life. But honestly, I think Super Metroid's a little better just because of how it does so much with so much less.
Yeah, it's shocking.
It is.
It's truly shocking how well that game holds up. And now you can watch speedruns of it and watch people just blow your mind. Not watch glitchless speedruns of it is the best. Any percent glitchless. But they still finish the game incredibly fast. This last Summer Games Done Quick, it was a 4-person race.
Damn.
Any percent completion. And it was insane. But they did it. It was great. But it holds up. You played it, and I was like, I kind of want to play this again.
Dude, it's so incredible how much that holds up. And I kind of wanted to ask you, I had a Super Nintendo. I played a bunch of different games. I never, some classics and some not so classics. But what else am I missing on that console that I should be playing that I haven't played? Like, if you think of like top 5 SNES games, like Super Metroid, obviously. Super
Metroid, Final Fantasy VI. Really, for me, Earthbound was really big for me.
Mm-hmm.
God, I loved Earthbound. But you've played the other like amazing ones, Super Mario World.
Yep, played that several times.
And then Yoshi's Island.
Yep,
like
several times.
You can't beat those at all.
So
they're just amazing games.
Yep.
Trying to think of other.
There's one you haven't mentioned that is my gamer shame that I have not played very much of.
What?
Zelda.
Oh, you haven't played? Yeah, Link to the Past.
I kind of feel like that maybe should be my next one because that's a nice palate cleanser from.
It is a nice palate cleanser. It still holds up really well.
Yeah.
It's a really good game.
When I played Link Between Worlds, that's the first Zelda game I ever beat.
Yeah. Which is a direct sequel to Link to the Past. So,
right.
yeah, I mean, all those great Nintendo ones. Like, I played Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore. Those are both cool games. Mega Man X.
Yeah.
Those ones hold up really well. Super Mario RPG.
Oh, yeah. I never played that game.
That game is fantastic. Such a fun RPG, but also kind of a parody of the RPG genre at the time. So,
well, there's a lot of the Smash rumors right now are pointing to Geno being the next reveal.
Really?
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, another Square character, basically.
I mean, that's where I played all the like Turtles games
as
well.
Those are so good
because they all came there as well.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be. I'm gonna have X on my list. I'm gonna have Link to the Past on my list, and probably Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, we played Chrono Trigger, of course.
Yep.
Donkey Kong Country, you played.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I played that the day it released. I fucking love
that
game.
Played a crap ton of Street Fighter 2 on there.
So I guess I played quite a few of the classics.
You have played a lot of the real.
Because I played Mana, I played Evermore, I played.
If you've missed X, Mega Man X,
yep.
you missed Super Metroid, but that's fine. I loved ActRaiser on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, that's right.
Trying to think of anything else that I just was like, oh, I played a crap ton of this. I mean, it's hard to say. I'm just trying to look at lists of anything that I might be like, oh, you haven't played. I'm like, no, I think you've played most of it. Yeah, I think those are. I would say X would be definitely one to play. Link to the Past. Did you play Secret of Mana?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I played that one and Evermore. I don't think I beat either one because I was renting them, but I rented them like several weekends in a row.
Yeah, I mean,
got into them.
I think you're pretty well versed here.
Cool. Okay, because I having beat Super Metroid and just kicking myself like, how did I not play this game earlier?
I don't know how you haven't played that one, but I mean, when you look at our age and everything, we couldn't get every game out there.
Definitely not.
So it's the whole thing with like, I've played a bit of Yoshi's Island. I've never played a ton of it, but I never owned it. I rented it once.
Oh, okay.
But I've played all of Earthbound because I owned Earthbound. But I never played Chrono Trigger because I made a choice and I got Earthbound, not Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. I remember very clearly getting Yoshi's Island for Christmas and just playing it until I beat it. I just could not stop. I loved it so much. And I feel like I got Mario games so many times for Christmas. When I finally got a console, that like those are like holiday games for me now. Every Christmas I have to play Mario. Oh, Yoshi's Island was so good.
It's always looked really good, and what I played of it was really good. Such a great art style, as well. So yeah,
cool.
I would recommend you've got a good history with it. So
yeah, well, okay. And then next on both of our plates, hopefully this week we'll start with Divinity: Original Sin 2.
I just watched IGN's review finally for the definitive edition on the console. Sounds like the console controls are great.
Oh, they feel really good. They feel really natural.
That's cool. Holy crap.
Yeah, I played through the prologue just to kind of get my feet wet, so that when we play, I'm not like.
So who did you choose? You chose the Red Prince?
I chose the Res. God damn it! I chose the Red Prince. And I don't know if I can play that character with our co-op game, or if I had to choose a new one and start over. I'm not sure.
I have no clue.
Yeah, we're about to find out, I guess.
I didn't know what type of what type of character you're trying to play. I don't know what his classes typically are.
Good idea. Good question. I have no idea.
Okay.
No. Battle Mage. I chose Battle Mage.
Battle Mage. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not married to that or anything. I just read on a forum that he was a good Battle Mage. I was like, okay, I'll do Battle Mage. I wanted to do something that wasn't, because I always choose like the Barbarian class, like the tank kind of, not tank, but maybe a tank. Yeah, where you're taking a lot of damage and dealing a lot of damage. Yep. Yeah. So, I'm open to anything, to be honest.
Okay.
So, but I do think we should do origin characters, because that you get a much richer story with the origin characters.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
So I'll have to I'll look before I make a choice. I'll look through and see if there's anything that stands out to me.
Yeah. Let me know over text when you want to do it. I'm free Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, I think. So no Tuesday or Wednesday actually.
Days. I know. Schedules in life and kids and things.
Have meetings. Yeah. Anyway,
things, all sorts of fun.
Lots of stuff. Yeah. But there's like a ton more that I played this week that I won't get into. But one I do want to bring up real quick is Into the Breach. I finally started playing Into the Breach.
Nice.
Man, have you played it yet?
Nope.
Man, it's like a Fire Emblem-ish like turn-based strategy game.
Puzzle game, right?
Puzzle
kind
game.
Of a puzzle.
And also a roguelike where you're going through, and then when you're done, you wipe and you start all over again, with kind of different scenarios and whatever else. It's perfect for Switch. It's like 10 minutes of fun, and you can repeat or move on or turn it off or whatever. It's perfect on Switch.
Nice.
I'm really glad I waited. And the art style is, it looks like a NES game kind of thing, or a little upgraded from that, but looks fine, plays great. Really, really good on with a controller.
That's really cool. I'm sure I'll play it at some point. I liked FTL a ton. I really like that dev. So
yeah, no, it's great.
When to find the time for that? Because I have Hollow Knight. I think the only game I played really was this week was Hollow Knight. Did I play anything else? I don't think so. I was prepping for my Star Wars game the first night, so it was a game week for role playing, and I must say the last 2 sessions have been really good.
Nice.
So kind of changed up my GMing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of moving things along a bit faster now.
Kind of taking
since we don't get the I still let. My God, not this last session. 2 weeks ago, they came up with a crazy thing of they basically started making the best daiquiris on the station. So. And started selling them. So that was not a planned thing, but they decided that's what was going to happen. And it got weaved into my story. It was fine.
Nice.
But there was just it was meandering a little bit, and so I needed to just rein it in a little bit. I think for everyone's fun.
Yeah.
And everyone is having a better time. I've talked to everyone now. So
that's good.
Whenever you GM and get around to it, always getting feedback from your players is very good. And having my wife be one of the players helps a lot.
Yeah.
So
get some
maybe how was
feedback.
that session for you?
Yeah.
Was what I was doing, did that help? And so it was good. So Hollow Knight's been the Switch has been a great thing to fit in around while I was prepping for that.
Right.
So
yeah, it's because you can it fills the holes. Like with PS4, you really have to find the time to sit down and especially with God of War. I really have to find the time to sit down and pay attention for an hour or two, and I don't have that right now. So
yeah. I'm really surprised on how I'm playing Hollow Knight usually maybe at most half an hour bursts.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play, I'll do some stuff, and then I'll turn it off, and I might go do something else, and I might only be away from it for 15 minutes. But then I'll come back and play more, just the instant on kind of thing. It's it works really well.
Well, and you're also it's just really you're able to put it into chunks. I'm going to go over here and get this charm, or I'm going to get to this part of the map, or get back to the stag station or the bench or whatever, and then be done for a little bit.
Yeah,
that's why I put 55 hours into it over 2.5 months, from E3 until last week or whatever. And it was just little bursts here and there, and every once in a while I'd go to a coffee shop and just sit for 2 or 3 hours and play on my little breaks, basically, and it was just sublime.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's really that game, or it's just the power of the Switch.
A little bit of both, I think.
Yeah.
So speaking of Hollow Knight and all these other indies, I did an interview this weekend with the guy, Justin Nation, who runs Nindy Spotlight, the Twitter account and the YouTube account. Basically struck up a conversation again with him this week about how he basically reviews every single indie that comes to the Nintendo Switch and how that's
insane.
Insane, yeah. So we talked about that. We talked about some hidden gems he's had and has found in his review process and kind of the whole thing, what he's doing. And that interview is actually going to be right now, basically, at the end of this episode. So I hope you enjoy that. Hit him up at Nindy Spotlight on Twitter and YouTube. Give him a follow. He does a lot of really good work. And it was a pleasure to talk to him again this week. And I guess that's it for us. Episode 156 of Prof and Dev Play Games. He's at Summerspeak. I'm at Prof Plays Games. Prof Plays Games. This week, I have no idea what I'm going to play. Probably read a book. And then Anthony's going to keep digging into Hollow Knight.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to play anything else but Hollow Knight for a while.
Except for Divinity with me.
We'll figure out a time to play some of that. But
yeah, and we'll
Hollow Knight's where it's at right now.
Definitely, that makes my heart so happy. All right, folks, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
All right, later, everyone.
So this is the Professor, and I'm here with Justin Nation, who runs the Nindy Spotlight website and Twitter account and YouTube account, and basically he's the man with the Nindies. All the reviews that you're seeing a lot of them are coming from him. So I kind of wanted you on the podcast today to kind of check in with you and your process with just. There are so many Nindies out there, and just kind of wondering how you do it. So I kind of wanted to start with you just kind of introducing yourself to the audience again and telling us about your project.
Let's see. I used to run some websites back in the day, 64 Source, and was part of N64 HQ. Had my first daughter and sort of got out of the scene. But when the Switch was coming up, it really inspired me to get sort of back into the swing of things, and it sort of exploded. Up until. The first part, I never assumed that the Switch would be so successful, especially, pulling in so many Nindy games just constantly. What started is, I was reviewing 2-3 games a week and doing sort of previews of indie games that I was playing on PC that I really liked, that I was hoping would come to Switch, and at the time sort of naively just hopeful, like, hey, these... like one of Dead Cells. Oh, that would be so cool if Dead Cells was on the Switch. And then suddenly they all came. Like as of October last year, everything went nuts. Went from 3-4 games a week, started being 8 or 10 or 12 that I was reviewing, and it's been pretty crazy. Like a typical week, probably getting 8 games, sometimes more. So it's very hectic trying to sort of keep up with all of it.
Yeah, I kind of wonder when you sleep because of how many games. When Nintendo announced that they wanted to have 30 a week or something like that.
20 to 30 a week. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of thought of you.
Yeah, I kind of died inside a little bit when they said that. And what I think that's going to end up having to lead to, which is unfortunate, is the goal was always to there's plenty of sites because I'll sort of participate still in Nintendo World Report. That used to be Planet GameCube, and I'd helped that site get going right around the same time I was quitting with the scene. Billy Bergheimer was starting up. He had Planet in 2000 at the time, but it was turning into Planet GameCube. Helped him by really coding sort of the site for Planet GameCube. And was participating in that for a little while before I dropped off. So, sites like Nintendo World Report, they're trying to keep up with indie games, but, it's not the thing about it is indie games don't draw a lot of people. A lot of them are niche titles or titles that nobody's ever heard of. So it's sort of a weird market to court, because I'm walking in saying, hey, I'm interested in talking about your game that probably nobody's ever heard of, and I'm going to try to help get the word out. But if it's not Dead Cells or games that people have heard of, these indie darlings, it's really hard to sort of draw people to come to see these things. So it's not really a big draw. So obviously, Nintendo Voice Chat is for IGN. I periodically will bug Per Schneider or anybody about, you need to try to get the word out about this game that, it's not one of the really big ones. It's not the Dead Cells. It's not the Messenger. It's not one of those ones that everybody already knew about. Please be sure that you mention at least, these games, because they're not really inclined to cover them either, because nobody's already interested in it. So it's not drawing traffic to their site. So it's a tough dynamic. I mean, so what I'm saying, if we get to the point where it's 20-30 a week, I'm probably going to have to try to be more selective, because it's going to be too much. But at the same time, that's a shame, because that gets away from the whole point, which is to try to find those diamonds in the rough and find those things, those hidden gems that nobody's talked about, nobody's hearing about, that are legitimately good games that otherwise are missed. And it's a tough thing.
Yeah, I think about that a lot when I listen to Nintendo Voice Chat, where Brian Altano seems to have played quite a few games, and he tries to, I think this week he mentioned a few games that I hadn't even heard of. And I wonder, because I know Per has talked about, in terms of website traffic, they need to review games that are getting the hits. They need to talk about games that are getting the website hits or whatever. But I feel like recently you had a tweet where you talked about you hit 1,000 followers on Twitter and 2,000 on YouTube or something along those lines. So congratulations on that. But
thank you.
Does that mean that do you have a sizable audience that's continuing to watch those videos and interact with your content, or do you feel like what Per is saying is true, where it's hard to get a lot of eyeballs on kind of the smaller indie games?
I think when I look at the stats on who's coming to see the articles or who's coming to see the video, it sort of plays out as expected, that on a typical game, the video for it, really the video tends to be much more fluctuating. It could be only 100 people come to see it for some small, games that nobody's ever heard of type stuff. But you'll get weird things you get weird spikes like Titan Quest, of all things.
Titan Quest.
As old as that game is, and it was really not a great Switch port.
Right.
Nor was it great on console ports before. But that one, I think that one got 11,000 people for whatever reason. So it's very random. There will just be games where they aren't even big games, but something about the name of it, or just people heard something or it sounds interesting, you'll get a big draw.
Right.
And then there will be games like a great example of another one that I was surprised how poorly it did was All-Star Fruit Racing. I mean, granted, it's a Mario Kart clone.
Right.
That's a tough business to be in, to try to make something to compete with Mario Kart, but there's just nobody's coming to see that at all. Less than 100, I think, at this point. I mean, so it fluctuates wildly. It's and that's sort of what I expected, but it's odd which ones will suddenly spike in interest.
Right.
It's very random.
I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this question so it doesn't insult indie developers, but there are some games I think we all can admit on the Switch that kind of come across as shovelware.
Oh yeah.
And how do you sift through that end of the spectrum?
I mean, the thing is, I've gotten to the point where I don't tend to solicit games unless I'm actively interested in them.
Okay.
But I've really gotten hooked into most of the distributors and publishers. I'll get unsolicited stuff from them, and it varies wildly. A good example of a publisher that has a spotty track record at best. Sometimes not to pick on them, but they have some pretty awful stuff that I've reviewed, and it's almost like a bad relationship that I'll ask for the latest key from them, and just kicking myself. It's like, oh, it's going to be terrible. Why are you doing this? but for whatever reason, I'm compelled to ask for stuff. But hey, Siggy fart for Melusina.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask about.
Yeah, it's not a great game, but it's for being very cheap. Yeah, it's a low budget title.
It's like a $5 game,
but it's a legitimately decent game. It's not great. I mean, it's not very challenging, and the boss fights are like disproportionately hard. The goal seems to be, hey, accumulate as many lives as you can, so when you get to these sort of cheap boss fights, you don't end up losing completely. So
right.
It's not a great game, but it's actually pretty fun. There's a lot of stuff out there like that it's there are parts of great ideas, and the good thing about indie games is a lot of them are short enough, or they're not a game that you're going to invest tons of time into. But hey, for a palate cleanser between AAA titles or something, some of them really work out well. And certainly there's a lot of niche stuff that big publishers won't touch. Some of these types of genres, adventure games are resurgent in the indie space,
right?
And which is great, because I enjoy the old LucasArts games. So everything is out there. There's something to sort of please everybody in that space that you wouldn't get, if you were relying on just the AAA publishers.
Yeah, I was flipping through my Switch just a little bit before I called you to kind of think about the indies that I have, and it really, I've thought of my Switch as an indie machine, but really I've gravitated toward the I don't know if I want to say better end of the spectrum, but the more well-known games, the more quality games, like Hollow Knight, obviously. Yakuza on Express, which I know that you played, and I want to talk to you about that a little bit. Minute is another one I have on there. There's a couple other ones. And I'm, from looking at reviews and from listening to different podcasts, that's kind of the end of the spectrum that I gravitate toward, obviously with my time and my money and whatever else. But I know that I'm missing some gem that I haven't heard about. And I'm wondering I'm sure people in the audience feel the same way. Is there like a couple of games that you think haven't really gotten a ton of coverage that you think really deserve to be played that you could kind of shout out?
It's let's see. Let me bring up. It'll be easier if I bring up a list that I was recently. Friend WR, we were trying to go over these games that people might not remember. Aces of the Luftwaffe Squadron came out a while ago. I really like that. It's an arcade shooter. Reminds me a lot of 1942, but it's got characters, and I really enjoyed it. Let's see, what else do we got in here that is in the list? Well, Ironcast is super old, but Ironcast is love it. Have you ever heard of that one?
Is that the one with the gems?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I actually own that one.
It's like a match 3 strategy game. Yeah.
Yeah. I started that, but I haven't got anywhere. We're very far in it. Can you kind of explain what the game is for everyone who's listening?
Yeah, it's it plays like a match 3 in a way. It's really not a match 3. You're really making you're getting sequences of gems that power different systems for your mech. It's like a steampunk mech, and you're in battles, and you have to keep them going. So you have to worry about their water levels and their power levels. You have to manage these things while you're trying to attack and counterattack this other steampunk mech. Very different. It's pretty challenging, actually. It was just one of those. It looked just weird enough to be cool, and playing it was pretty legitimately fun.
Awesome.
Another one, Joe Deaver's Lone Wolf. Never
heard of that one.
Yeah, it's hard to describe. It's very. There's a lot of narrative to it. But the combat is kind of, if I had to compare it to something, it reminds me a lot of like Hand of Fate or something like that, where the combat isn't terribly complex and it's kind of repetitive, but just something about it. The story was pretty good, and it was a lot of fun. The guy who was reviewing the title for Nintendo World Report and I sort of, as we were reviewing it, we were going back and forth like, this is so much better than I was expecting. This is really cool. Just completely different. I really was not. I cannot compare it really to any game. Just different and interesting.
Cool.
Have you heard of Wolverblade?
Yes, I have. That's the side-scrolling beat 'em up, right?
Yeah. Best side-scrolling beat 'em up probably I think ever made. Like it is.
What, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's it is more ambitious than I think any of them. Because it really tries to keep doing different things. Now when it came out, I think it was a little balanced on the difficult side.
That's what kept me away from it. Yeah.
Yeah, they've gone back and added an easy mode, and they toned down some of the bosses. Like, even though I blew through the most of the game, I got to the last boss, and I'd given up on the last boss originally. There was just too much going on.
Yeah.
But each boss, it wasn't like one of those things where you're going to have to be successful just by grinding it out and just button mashing your way through. I mean, you needed some strategy. Like the second boss was. I think the second boss probably scared most people off because he was tough, and you had to really pick up on what it took to beat him. So I think that was what was surprising. I think people went in, beat 'em ups, it's sort of a button mashy kind of thing, and Wolverblade really wasn't doing that. And it's one of those games that when you get really far into it, it's one of those things where something really cool happens that changes every. They hint at it throughout the game, and then everything gets really cool toward the end. So yeah, I think that is. I hold that up as I think the best beat 'em up I've probably ever played, just because full of ambition and different versus just being sort of the same old. And it's great to pick up people's lopped off heads and throw them at people. There's something fun about it.
Yeah, that's always a fun mechanic. Well, I think you certainly sold me on that game because it was always on my radar, but the difficulty spikes kind of threw me off.
Yeah, they have patched it, so it's a more accessible. Figment was really great.
Say it again.
Figment. It's very artistic, and it's and as a parent, the story kind of hit me hard.
Okay.
It's at the beginning. There's you hear parents driving in the rain, and their son is in the back and talking, and then you just hear the sounds of a car crash, and you're basically really Figment. You're in the father's subconscious. I guess he's in a coma or something type of thing, and you're having an adventure trying to deal with different things. But the thing that really hit me was even for people who aren't parents yet, like there are things that are sort of regrets that parents have as far as interactions with their kids, where the kids and it's something every parent can relate to, where you can be a great parent, you can do a lot of things right, but there's these small moments that you let the kid down kind of thing. And there are specific memories that you run into in that game that are all those kinds of things. And it's, as a parent, you're just like, oh, man, don't remind me that these things happen. Yeah, I suck as a parent when that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's full of heart. It has a really, it's got an original soundtrack. It's just very different. And Pool Panic was the one that was most recent that I can think of. Oh
yeah, that one where you play as a pool ball, and there's like scenarios where you're trying to get other balls into the holes, but it's like a backyard, or there's different like.
Yeah, there's
areas,
over
right?
100 different. There's 100 different stages in it, and it just keeps getting more and more bizarre. It's just like I played that one at PAX. It was my favorite game I played at PAX. Just because it was so different and weird and bonkers. And I was really impressed by the commitment of the developer. There were the two guys who made the game were there, and talked to them quite a bit. And just, they created mechanics for single levels was what was blowing me away. Like there's a level where you're on your little moped and you're riding against a rival sort of motorcycle gang. And that's the only level that the mechanics in that are there in the entire game. But they had an idea, they ran with it, they made it work. So just things like that. It's just completely weird. It is the weirdest game. That's
got to keep it fresh though, if there's that many different levels.
Yep,
that's awesome. I wanted to ask you. I didn't mention this before our call, but the Nindy Spotlight that just happened, or not Nindy Spotlight, that's your name. The Nintendo Direct that was focused on the indies. Do you get like advance word of that, or do you like? No. Oh, you don't. Oh, okay.
No.
I was wondering if anything came your way from Nintendo to get ready or anything like that.
No, the best I got was when I was at PAX. I got to talk to Kirk Scott, who was the person who presented the Nintendo Direct. Really great guy, really passionate guy. So that was a very, I got to talk to him for a short time, but that was really inspirational. It was really cool to see somebody who was really dialed in, and it was a really odd thing that sort of the story of him and the NOA side people having to sort of make the case of why the indie developers were so important, because it sounded like mainline Nintendo didn't have such a positive opinion in at least different pockets of the independent space. Probably the same problem that a lot of gamers have who are really only interested in AAA games or second-party games, where they don't feel like, when they think of independent games, they think of shovelware and things like that. Which, hey, I'm here to tell you, there are AAA shovelware games too.
Oh, for sure.
So there's nothing special about the indie space in terms of, it's not as if all games are great. I'd say on average it's the same up and down the spectrum. There are games of all types and all sizes, and all levels of quality. The main thing I think that to me is interesting about the indie space, though, is that it's a space that takes chances, and you see things that are unexpected, and you see sort of these meshing of different genres. The roguelike space, I love roguelikes. I know a lot of people don't. They are an acquired taste, but the indie space experimenting sort of with using the roguelike concepts with different genres creates some really interesting stuff.
Well, I was thinking that exact same thing today with Into the Breach, this strategy game, and then it just has the roguelike qualities where you die and you reset and you go back, and some things are persistent, and I don't know what AAA publisher would even consider that, and it's another game like Minute.
Minute is fascinating.
It really is.
It's so simple and odd. I mean, it reminds me a lot of Undertale. Like these games that are doing bizarre things. Like the whole notion in Undertale of that really the best way to play it is to play it as a pacifist, which goes against all of your gaming instincts. Yep. And yet that is the most fascinating thing about it. A Minute, just the rush to get you only have that 60 seconds, so you have to try to figure out what you're going to do next, and then just little jokes like the one dude outside the lighthouse who then is telling his story as slow as possible.
Oh my god,
I'm on the edge of death here, dude. Speed it up, come on, man.
Oh man, when I found that guy, I was laughing my ass off because I got there with 20 seconds left, and I was like, "There's no way this." So I had to come back and make sure I made a beeline and just barely finish his story in time. It's just the timing of that, and just oh my god, the timing of the comedy was just amazing with that, and just finding little gems like that throughout Minute. I haven't beat the game or anything, but there's just such a the indie space, they can take risks, I assume, because it's a lower cost. You're not spending like God of War, for example, which kind of reminds me of a lot of the games I played this year that I've really enjoyed. Like Celeste and Hollow Knight are on top of my list, and I tried Detroit Become Human, I tried God of War, and honestly they didn't stick with me like Celeste or Hollow Knight did. So just for me, this is the year of indies, because I don't they're able to, how do I want to say this, to take the risk in a way that just allows them to explore the space that they're in without, I don't know, going bankrupt, or without wasting millions and millions and millions of dollars. I feel like Celeste really pushed platformers in a way that I haven't seen another game do in a really long time, and Hollow Knight for Metroidvanias, man, it's just one of the best.
That is a hard game. Like, and it's weird because it's a different type of hard. Like I adore Dead Cells and brutally hard game, but Hollow Knight is a whole different kind of hard.
Well,
like
that's
like it's you have so little to work with.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to make, you know, because at the beginning I was fooling myself. I was thinking like, oh, you know, there's something else I'm gonna get to take on the false knight. You know, there's something else I'm gonna find. And no, you're gonna have to just figure out how to make that nail work for you.
Yep.
And it's
yeah. Forget the platforming in that boss. And like Mantis Lords were another one that people kind of banged their heads against, or the Watcher Knights. It comes down to prowess. It's a mix of like charms and upgrades and prowess, and it's weird because I am not good at hard games. And Hollow Knight, for some reason, I've done everything except for the Nightmare King Grim, and the new Gods and Glory or whatever, Godmaster DLC. But I'm like 106%. It's just something about that game just sang to me, and I could not. I put 55 hours into it. I could not drop it.
Jeez.
It's amazing. Well, I really want to tell you that I appreciate your time tonight. I got to get off soon because I have a baby who's about to go to sleep.
Sure.
But before we do, I kind of wanted you to kind of let us know where people can find you on the internet, and let us know, like the YouTube address or your Twitter handle or anything else you want people to know.
Sure thing. The easiest way to see anything of mine is through Twitter at Nindy Spotlight. www.nindyspotlight.com has all the reviews, and then that also has links to the YouTube videos. You can find me on YouTube, but like I said, it's probably easiest just to find everything through the Twitter account, because everything gets posted there.
Awesome. Well, as more and more games get released for the Switch on the Nindy side, we're going to pray for you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll keep track of what you're doing. Thanks for coming on today.
All right. Thank you.